Good afternoon, it's Mark here with Not Square Design, and gonna run through quick stuff, customizing and adding a detail. So basically, what I've got is got a situation where I can't find an appropriate code. I've gone through my code quite a bit. I can't find exactly what I need. Show you what I have found. So what I've got here is out of it's not a commentary, and I'm working on a commercial building. So the C, it's actually in the residential book, or here it's in the International Energy Conservation Code. So the R's are residential conservation, and then C's are the commercial conservation code. And I try to do an advanced search, and really is tough sometimes to find what you want. And we used to be able to, like on a heated floor, take some insulation on the inside up and then come across about 4 to 5 feet and then terminate. And so I was looking for something in that situation something that would do something like that, because I'm using this particular detail where we are going to be insulating on the exterior of the heated space, but then I've got a common wall, which I'll show you, to a non-heated space. So I have an interior footing, and on that interior footing right here I've got heated space, so I need to do my 4 feet down because I'm in climate zone C, or 6, sorry, climate zone 6. And so the insulation is going to come up, and then I was going to terminate it here because I don't want to bring it down out here because now we've got stone veneer. So I'm going to wrap this around to the other side. So what I could do is, take something and just go like mirror that. And I don't even need that. Just that portion, mirror it about here, drop it on across, and then I could see if it'll trim. Yep, trimmed it back nicely. And that's because of the way this is. Now this origin point doesn't have the same. Sometimes you can hit match properties and match these. Nope, it doesn't want to change the origin. So it's just the way that origin is, but that doesn't bother me too much. It's occurring right where this detail is going to be shown anyway, which is what we're going to be working on. Because here, I don't need this. I need this to come over. I need this to go away. And then I need this insulation to come out to here, if at all. What I'd really like to do is, if I were to offset this, let's say 48 inches, what I recall from an old code, and you can see it did something down here, so that's probably 48. Let's just check. D, yep, 48. So I'm going to draw a line straight up, and then I'll trim it, and then I can trim back to here and trim that back. That's what I'm looking for. And I'd like to have the insulation come here. I'll match my properties. And so when I back out, what I've got is I've got an office space here. This is a heated office space. I've got a cavity insulation. Because I'm in Montana, we have a Montana DEQ regulation that allows us to still use R21, even in 2021 codes. It's ridiculous. We are in climate zone 6. Why we're allowed to reduce is beyond me, but we are. So, owner would like to take advantage of that. We're bringing the stone down like this. So I can basically move that down to here and get rid of this. The 6 inches from the grade to the bottom of this is not true. I actually moved that down too far. I need to move this up 1.5. Let's get this rule right. This rule is to here because I'm using a pressure treated sill plate. And because I'm using that pressure treated, I'm frozen. Something just happened. And I can't even get over to pause my, let's see if I can get my recorder to pause by switching programs with my task manager. Okay, I got a dying trackball. So I'm gonna replace the battery, but let's get this video done first. So I just switched over the floor plan to get it to unfreeze from where I was at, and it wants to go to paper space, so we gotta go back to model. Okay, so we were here. What I was showing you was on here, is that this rule is to the pressure treated. Now I take this because it's not filling out very well, grab it, bring it back, and put it in the middle. Now I can read the 6. So what I want to do is I want to check my finished floor looks good. My grade, if I want to show another line here, then what I'll do, let's get rid of some of this junk. I went through and rescaled a bunch of stuff for half-inch drawing, so, but I can copy this. Then we're going to go down. This will be it'd be 4.5, and so now I want to move this from here, and I'll bring it down and out. Even though it's 4.5, what I usually would do is I'd like draw a line from here to here, then I'll come down 22.5 degrees, somewhere in there. I can do it 45, but I like the 22.5. Come back out. Let's go 12 inches. And now I'll move this to that point, and it usually clears it just fine. There. Then I can match properties, get this line looking right. So what I've got is this is going to become, and my initials tell them what all this means. So BFF is below finished floor. And so here I'm going to be at a negative, so a minus 4.5 inches. Oh, 0, and then I'm going to space 1/2 and hope it doesn't stack. It did not. Okay, and this should be 4. So I'm down 4.5 inches. I want them to see that because they need to get used to this fact that if this is pressure treated, my 6 inches starts at the wood that's not pressure treated. And so I can draw a line across here. Then I can trim up to that. Get rid of because your plywood and stuff does need to be up there. And then match properties there. And so, yeah, my stone will come down. And I've got a special material. Actually, the sheathing doesn't even go behind here. But I've got a detail for all that, how it really works. So I'm not too worried. It's a little bit right. It looks good enough. I just lost my mouse again. I'm going to change this battery out before I come back. Okay, so now that that's pretty set, this is what I'm after. I want my exterior insulation. Then I've got this zone through here, and no, what I did, and let's show it here so that it's understood, and you'll see it in detail when I do it. But I'm going to chamfer this, CH. Let's bring this up, and I don't think it went high. I don't think I went up this high, but since we are going to be changing this in the detail, let's just make sure it's clear as to what I'm after. Oops, that's not what I want. So this guy, move it out because I like that extension line to be clear and showing like down here. This when I move that grade symbol I have, now I need to move that too, so I get the space. I do like a space. I think it reads a lot better. It's pretty important to make sure your plans are readable and bring this insulation up so that I've got insulation going to at least not concrete. Then over here, what I want to do is bring this out. And so I need to probably, my hatch here, I changed the depth on this material to make it so that I have my absolute 4 feet from wherever my non-insulated is to the bottom, because that's a code requirement, is to hit that R. So this distance here, That's 310 plus the 2 inches of insulation is a total of 4 foot depth, which is a climate zone 6 if you look in the code. We won't see that here. Maybe I can find it quick enough though. No, I don't see it quite quick enough. But at any rate, it's just the code requires R10 to 4 feet for my climate zone. And it looks like I got some extra insulation going on there, and then this one doesn't come down far enough. And that didn't quite grab right. There we go. Now it looks clean. And so I'll probably put I don't know, let's just do it now. Just throw a dimension on there and bring it all the way up into here to say, hey, I got my 4 feet of insulation per code. Now, this is where the question lies with the building department. I'm going to copy this guy from there to there because I want to know, can I do this old school and not go insulating all the way across this entire floor, because it doesn't make much sense if I'm out here and then, let's say in floor plan, instead of insulating the entire floor, this is buried really deep. Here it starts to shallow out, but then I get into my regular insulated wall, which is the detail you were just looking at. But on the front, I've got a concrete patio out here. So I'd like to draw a special detail that's going to allow me to do a horizontal insulation under concrete. And then I don't have to worry about burying it, and I don't have to worry about all of this. And if I've got my insulation like this dashed line here, that's not the insulation. That's actually for some duct work. But what it kind of symbolizes, if I were to be off 4 feet out here, is that's how I want the insulation, is to come down this common wall. Because this room, this holds offices, conference room, it's heated. This storage area, I don't even have an insulated door. So this whole area is not heated. So we're going to do 1 hour fire protection between these two spaces. And then we're going to insulate this to the same degree we would an exterior wall, which is R21 cavity in Montana. And so let's just change up that detail so I can send out an actual detail. So I had the original typical interior footing detail. Pretty standard stuff. And you just thicken it right where you got a bearing wall. We have a bearing location because in my roof framing, I've got my trusses coming over from this direction, trusses coming from this direction, and they're both sitting on this common wall. And so you can see this is its own array, and it's separate from the array here. And it's a line, dot, dot, line. So they know where it starts, where it stops. Where it starts, where it stops. That's why this line stuff is so important to me. Having the true line styles in here. And as you can see, it's not straight, but that's a array edit. It's different than just doing the double click on the array. If you use array edit and you pick your source, you can do a lot more to that array and you can straighten it out. I'm not going to worry about that. That's not part of this. So I'm going to discard my changes. That's another fix, but that's how you would do it. That's the good way to do it. So I took this and I did a save as, I renamed it, and now we have a typical interior wall footing common to condition and unconditioned. And symbol doesn't like to be in your name. So now we just got to change our title down here to be something similar. So double click on this, it's on attribute. So typical interior bearing wall footing. And then we're just going to put caps lock on, common wall between condition and unconditioned. And now you need to have these kind of, you need to have COND, BTW or BTWN. Make sure this stuff is in your abbreviation so people know what all this means. Apply if you want, hit OK. And now I'm going to move it over, and then we're going to change this detail. So I'm going to need more space. So this is going to become a bigger detail. So we're going to stretch it out. I'm going to move it up because I need all this stuff in the original up here. And then I have to have, this is a thickened slab on this side. Show that 4-inch reinforced concrete slab. I really don't need to. The detail's not necessarily about that. About the thickness of this slab. As long as it's noted in my section that I've got 6 inches, which if you go back to the section, I've got a thickened slab here, 6-inch concrete slab at storage, 4-inch concrete slab at offices. Details, I try and keep some of this stuff to be typical so I can use them in other situations. So what first thing I want to do is move this and just move it out because then I can match properties later, bring it back in. I should probably do the same with this. Oops, I copy. So now that that's done, this guy can go away. And, ooh, I got some weird lines going on there. I don't know what that's about. Undo. I want to keep my concrete. And then I need to chamfer this. I bet it was a fillet command was used there. I rounded it out. Oh, that didn't work. So here, I'm going to bring that straight down. It's not working. I've got a wide footing here. It's a foot wide. So here, see foundation, but it's some width, but with it here, this is typical footing. So we're just going to draw a line from where it was up, and then I will chamfer those, and then I'll match properties. This is how you quickly just grab a detail you have done. Now let's see if we can edit this. Okay, it does, looks like that was a, it was actually made into a, see in the circle stuff, it may not allow me to stretch this. So if you can't get that to do what you want and get rid of that circle, see how it's not behaving, then just like I did with that other stuff, you know, grab this type and move it. And that's why I keep these red lines here that are on the junk layer. They don't print. Now this guy, yeah, it's got a curve in it, but this one, I bet I can drag it up. No, it does not want to drag up. Let's try and drag it beyond. Yeah, drag it beyond. Bring it back down. It does not want to do that. So there may be an edit way to actually do that. What's this? Remove? That didn't work. So, not much I can do about that except also move it and we'll bring it back in. But it's really easy because this is already, I mean, we're done. It's drawn. So I got to put my insulation on the outside, that kind of thing, and then we'll just rehatch it. So I can move this guy over because that's just going to contain my hatch for my fill. I'll move this down a little bit more. And then what's important is this dimension here now needs to be 4 feet from here down, and that's an important dimension, so it's part of the detail. That dimension is IECC stuff, or how I interpret it, and how I'm trying to ask the building department if they will also interpret it the same way. And so I'm going to chamfer this to here, and then chamfer that to there. And this is now my dirt, and so I want it to be just a light blue line, but this is one, oh no, it's not long, yeah, it is one long line. Now there's a small blue line in there, and there's my real long line. Let's take my long one, shrink it up. Now I got my blue one, and I can bring it down. That was fast. And then let's move this from here to here. Let's re-snap it to there. Oop, missed. Didn't get it. I didn't. Oh, and I don't have this chamfered either. Let's chamfer that first to make sure we grab the right one. Although it won't associate because I didn't create the dimension. So it's not like that just all of a sudden associated to it. So I move it again. I gotta move it manually. Now let's match the properties because my white lines are thicker than my blue lines. Now I've got this the right depth, I believe, so let's check it. What's this depth? So excavate 18 inches into undisturbed soil. Well, that's a different type of excavate 18 inches undisturbed. Okay, well, I can't really do that here. So we're going to have to, let's check and see what we got drawn. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in a less than, greater than, and it drops the actual. Excavate 4 foot into undisturbed. So now that, whatever I change this to, and so now you see it's drawn at 4 foot, which is what we were after. So now space, offset, 2, let's put our insulation back in. And then that insulation to come all the way down. So I'm going to draw a line out from here, 2 inches. Then I'm going to drag that guy out to there so that when I'm done, my extension line looks good. Let's chamfer this with my distances set to 0. And then this, now since I moved the insulation down 2 inches, I'm going to move my aggregate down 2 inches. And we're going to rehatch this, so if I want it to look a little more even, I can move my break line down to where I like it. Looks pretty good. So I might need to do a little trimming, like that guy. And I'm just going to trim back to here. I mean, you could leave that line, but it's just going to turn into a blob. So I'll get rid of it. Now, what have I got going on here? Well, I've got concrete that should be 4 inches. And then I've got my insulation, which is not grabbing the spot. There we go. And that's there. I'm going to project that line to here just so that this stays in that same spot. And then here, I'm going to go to my properties. And I'm going to change my angle. First, let's go into leader, add leader. I don't need to change angle because this is going that direction. So we'll leave it that direction. If you want this to rotate, here's the trick to that. Because it'll tell you that your angle for your text is 0. Where are you? Oh, it went too far. Text. Rotation, 0. Well, 0.01 is that. So just off of 0 is actually 0. So in this case, I'm going to undo that because I just wanted to match what I've got going on. Oh, so I can actually... And then I like this line to match my tick marks. That's just my particularities. So now I can copy this because I'm going to have 4 inches of aggregate. Bring it right to there. And that will tie right into that. And then let's extend the aggregate over. That's on the junk layer, so it won't print. I do want this to print, but I want it to be on my thinnest line layer, which is called the object thin. So I don't have like layers by type in elevations and sections. Elevations and sections, it's not like a door to door, not in 2D. It's just a line weight. So I just have a few things. If I were to change my, yeah, it's set already. It's set onto my, oh, that's all. Because I'm in a detail. There's not much going on. So I've got D layers. These are my D layers. D object light, D hatch. I've got a D object dark, but I don't need it for this drawing. So now I've got my aggregate here. I've got my, it looks crooked. No, it's not. I guess this is just off. Just didn't tag to it. Okay. So I'm going to probably change this note, but let's hatch this. And this is a honeycomb is what I like to make it. And you'll see I've got a lot of hatches. You can get those too if you want. They're out there on the web, and then you just got to give it the directory. So now that is there, and this will probably be somewhere around maybe, I don't know, let's try 6 at first. That looks pretty good. I could probably go with that. Yeah, it's a 3/4 inch drawing. It'll work. Okay, so I'm going to say close, then I'm going to grab it. Now I was going to want to go back, but all I'm doing here is making it the object thin because the junk layer doesn't print. So now I can hatch this, done, hatch this, and this is the same, done, hatch this, done. Now I've got to match my dirt with my dirt, match my gravel with my gravel, and match my concrete with my concrete. Oops, missed. Turn to brush, concrete, a little brush symbol. Oh, can't zoom in on that, I guess. Then I can get rid of this stuff because I don't need it anymore. I do need that piece. Show you what we're going to do with that in a minute. So, to make this complete, excavate 4 inches into undisturbed soil. Yes, I do want to do that. I want to refill it. Excavate 4 feet. I do want to refill it with ABC or floor fill cinder to 95% compaction or fill with concrete. So they can just fill that with concrete if they want to. Now I need a little note in here that tells what is this stuff. And so I can grab this guy, bring her down, and I don't know if this is an associated one or not. Some of these have gotten disassociated in some of my older details. So if I grab this, oh, look at it, it's even on the back. I'm telling you, it's not going to be associated to that leader. Nope. So since I'm just doing a little quick detail, I'll just drag it down. Otherwise, I would import my leader again, and it'll move with the text. And it'll be backwards either. So now I've got that. So I can change this to 2 inch. Oh, see, it's at the wrong end. It's working without having the right kind. So 2 inch rigid. Well, let's just make this R10. Continuous insulation. Just the spelling on that, didn't I? There we go. That looks pretty good. Now let's get our spline in here. That's the dirt. So SPL, let's go NEA for near. I'll pick a point there. Now I like to turn off that and that so it's not snapping to stuff. Just kind of freeform this in. And the nice thing about now new hatch these days is it will go around. Let me text to go around. Might cut out a little tiny bit right there. So you'll see it when I do it in red. Oh no, it's honeycomb, so you don't really see it. But yeah, see how it didn't quite go to the line? Because the 3's in the way. So if I had text in the middle of there, it would go around it. Just getting nicer and nicer all the time. So that looks pretty good. I think we're done. So I can move this whole thing. Let's bring it down to where it's associated with this text pretty good. And now I can shrink it up. Maybe I didn't need to make it much bigger after all. Oh, I don't have my... See, I need this stuff back on. I didn't need my snaps on, but I did want to turn on my polar. So this is polar tracking. Oh, and then there's over here, you got your reference line snaps. That's how I did the earlier one. So zoom extents. Take a look at it. Typical wall bearing footing. This is going to go on that same spot. So it'll be on 1, S3. I don't think so. I think we're going to put this on A5. But, so I'll probably have to come in and change the number. So I'm going to save it. Because right now it's saving to the job folder. So if I go to save as, and I look in here, it's going to the MHE job. So what I also want to do is I want to go back to my library, support documents, go into AutoCAD support, and then go to my details evolving. I call it evolving because I'm always updating, changing. So foundation details, and I have a typical interior bearing footing. But I already got a nice name on here. So I just want to save it in here so I can use it for other drawings later. Save. So now it's in both places. That's that. That's how you do it. And then you just bring it into your drawing. You have plenty of lessons on how to do that. So hopefully this was a nice way to see how to do this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of this together. I'm going to ship it off to the building department. And if I have anything interesting come back from them, then I will seam another video to the end of this so that you can see it and see what happened out of all this. Because it's not really quite what the code book said, but it's open to interpretation. If you read how the code book reads, not every rule is in there perfectly, so the code official has some say in how things are done. Let's see how it goes. Thank you again. This is Mark Farrar with Not Square Design.